Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today you are together with me as Fabrice, and we are going to deal with the anatomy and physiology of human. And today we are going to start with introduction. So, anatomy studies is the studies of the body parts and their relationships. So, in the anatomy, you have macroscopic anatomy, or which is gross anatomy, and microscopic anatomy. For the macroscopic means you understand gross, which is large, study of large body structure, example heart, lungs, kidneys, and other large body structures, and can be further divided into regional anatomy, systemic anatomy, and surface anatomy. For regional anatomy, it deals with all structures in one particular region. For systemic anatomy, system by system. For the surface anatomy is the study of the internal body surfaces, internal body structures, which is surface anatomy. So microscopic anatomy deals with the very small structures that cannot be seen with naked eyes. So we have cytology, which is the study of the body cells. We have histology, which is the study of the body tissues. For the next slide is where we have developmental anatomy, to deal with the structural changes to the body throughout the lifespan. We have this one like embryology, which is the development which occurs before birth, means during the development of the fetus is where we have this embryology. Is where we found what we call embryogenesis, the formation of the fetus and the steps that follow to reach to the fetus and the maturation, then after the childbearing. So for the physiology is the study of the body function. So we have system physiology, which is the study of the body systems function. Comparative physiology, which studies the various characteristics of living organisms. And we have medical physiology, which is the study of physiological dysfunction. So for the comparative physiology is the study of various characteristics of living organisms, and for medical physiology is the study of physiological dysfunction and diseases. So the next slide is for structural levels of the body, where we have chemical, which is the combination of atoms to form molecules, and for the next level is cell, means we are from the smallest to the largest. Next one is cell, it is basic living units which have the common characteristics and they differ in the structure and function. For the tissue, it's a group of cells with similar structure and function. Here you have like epithelial tissues, connective tissues, muscle tissues, and there's nervous tissues. For the next level is organ, where two or more different tissues work together to perform one or more common function. Example for the organs is like eye, skin, stomach, and heart. So organ system, it's a group of organs of a common function, where we have like skeletal, muscular, nervous, endocrine, cardiovascular, lymphatic, respiratory system, or the digestive system. So the system of the body that we will go deeply in the next slides or the next chapters is where we have integumentary system, which is external cover of the body, or commonly referred to as skin, protects deeper tissues from injury, and is site of cutaneous receptors and sweat and oil glands. Skeletal system, it consists of bones and it involves in protection and support the body organs. So the muscular system, the muscles is where you find the muscles and produce body movement like When there is muscle contraction, you already have extension and flexion and other movements like peristaltic movement and others. For nervous system, it consists of brain, sensory receptor, nerves, spinal cord, and it is also involved in controlling homeostasis by stimulating particular muscles, contraction, and gland secretion. Another system is endocrine system. It is the hormone secretion to regulate body processes. Cardiovascular system, it's for transport of the blood to the body, and it consists of the heart and the blood vessels. So lymphatic system or immune system protect the body by attacking foreign substances entering body system. So respiratory system supply the blood with the oxygen and removing carbon dioxide. So after that, after the lymphatic system, we have respiratory system, as we have seen, and also we have digestive system, which involve in the breakdown of the food for absorption, and also the indigestible food will be removed as feces. So urinary system, it is all about regulation of water, electrolytes, and acid-base balance in the body. So we have the desylengine and the angiotensin, aldosterone engine and the intestine mechanism, where we have how the blood pressure is regulated by making sure that these electrolytes are balanced. So for the reproductive system, this is how we have the production of babies, or simply is where we found the male and female productive system, where we have gonads, and then here there we have, for male we have testes, for the female we have ovaries. So another thread is for homeostasis, which is the body's ability to maintain relatively stable internal condition, although the external environment keep changing. So you know that simply homeostasis is all about the body's ability to maintain internal condition constant, although the external may be varying. So three main components is we have receptors, integrator, and you have effector. So for receptors are the sensory receptors, which can be found in the skin, and tegmentary organs, and integrator is like control center, where you have the brain for deciding the response, and also effector is what you call carried out the action, is where we find the muscles, and then finally there is a response, which is the output, and then feedback generated. So homeostasis, we have two kinds of homeostasis. We have negative feedback mechanism. We have this one is for restoring the body to its original state, cut off the original stimulus and reduce the intensity, and make up most of the homeostasis control mechanisms, and avoid sudden and harmful changes to our body. Example, you have insulin will be secreted if the glucose level in the blood is too high, meaning that when the level of glucose picks up in your body, so this one negative feedback mechanism will be the one in charge of stimulating this insulin secretion, and that glucose will be stored as a glycogen. So positive feedback mechanism, this is for triggering or enhance action from the original stimulus, commonly for activity that do not need further adjustment. Example is blood clotting, where the platelet will peel up and clot at the injured site. So we'll continue with the anatomical positions. This one for anatomical position is when the person is standing in standing position with the body erect facing forward, feet slightly apart and arms hanging, and the palms are facing forward. So you will meet these kind of questions where they will be asking you what is the exact anatomical position. So I think you will be ready to answer this kind of question. So we have the directional terms. For the directional terms is where we have to explain and locate precisely where the body structure and its relation to another. So here we have the table of terms and definition. So for the term 1 is for superior. The superior, when it is for the cranial, means it is toward the head end, or if it is superior only, means it is above. And the next term is inferior or kudo. So if it is inferior, it means it is below, and if it is kudo, means it is away, head end. So another one is anterior or ventral, which is the front of the body. The next is posterior, which is also named as dorsal in anatomy, which is behind the body. And we have medial, which is the midline of the body, or aina. So we have lateral, which is away from the midline or outer. Then we have intermediate, which is between medial and lateral. And we have proximal, which is close to body origin. And we have distal, which is away from the body origin. And we have superficial or external, or which is means toward the body surface. And we have deep, which is internal, meaning away the body surface. So the next, you are observing the directional terms. Also, this is for the diagram showing how distal is, how proximal is. So means we have light in the left part of the body, and we have midline, we have proximal, we have distal as the image is displaying, and we have superior and inferior, and we have anterior and posterior, or which we call ventral, and the dorsal. So regional terms, we have two regions mainly in the body. We have axial region, which is axis of our body, where we will find the cranial, which is cranium or the head. We have neck and the trunk. For the perpendicular regions, we have the limbs or appendages, body part that attaches to the axis. So the next one is for the body planes and section, where we have sagittal plane, which is the vertical plane divide the body into right and left, and the sagittal plane that exactly cut in the middle is called the mid-sagittal, means or which is median plane. So after the sagittal plane that offset from the midline line is called the parasagittal plane. Means when you have that mid-sagittal, means you are dividing into two equal halves, and when you take one half and you divide it into two other halves, means you are having what you call parasagittal plane. So another plane is frontal plane, where the vertical line that is the vertical line that divide the body to anterior and posterior parts. So next plane is transverse plane, means you are cutting the horizontal plane which divide the body into superior and inferior. So here for transverse, you have to know that when you have transverse plane, the body is not going to be divided into two equal halves. No, it's all about cutting to get superior and inferior. So the next one is what you are observing is the terms for the motion, where we have flexion, extension, medial rotation and lateral rotation, and we have spination and pronation. and you have superimposition. So for the flexioning is where we have the limb, either can be arm or a leg, where it is being pulled toward the body, and for the extension is where you are moving the limb away from the body. So another one is for the position, which is you can have spine and prone. So for supine, the individual or the individual is lying on his back, is where you have spine position, and when individual is lying on his or her abdomen is prone position. So we have also abduction and adduction. So the next, which is the last one, is body cavity, where we have dorsal cavity, which protect the nervous system, and have two subdivisions, which is cranial cavity, which where we find the brain, and we have spinal cavity, where we find the spinal cord. So another cavity is ventral cavity, where we have the house which houses the visceral organs, and has means, when you say that it houses, means it is where we found the visceral organs, means that you have to know that the visceral organ are the organs that are vital and also can be protected by either thoracic cavity or found in the abdominal pelvic cavity. So for thoracic cavity is where we have pallor, which is anatomy, which is the term used to refer to the lungs. In the region of mediastinum is where we have heart, esophagus, and trachea. So for the abdominal pelvic cavity is where we have, for the abdominal we have stomach, intestine, spleen, liver. We may have other organs like this, gallbladder. We have other organs like pancreas. All of them are found in the abdominal cavity. So for the pelvic region, we have the bladder, the productive systems. So, and also we can have rectum. So for this, the intestines, we simply understand that it is small and large intestines. So after having that deep overview of what we will be dealing with in the anatomy and physiology, you have to know that anatomy and physiology is a very crucial and vital module for the one who is dealing with the medical schools. It's either maybe a nurse, a midwife, or maybe dealing with nutrition and other nursing related courses at university, especially when you are in year 1 of study. So you have to make sure that you understand this module, because it's where you will be dealing with these issues or these topics concerning the anatomy and physiology. So I wish we will be together until the end of this module, because we are going to dive into the different systems by system, and also I wish you will be being here for us, and also we thank you for reaching this